All right. This is a reading by Mark Waid, writer, comics. I believe he works at Marvel. This is how we know that it's officially begun. Harassment in this industry towards young creators of gender and of color. LGBTQ plus creators just peaked. Something awful has happened, and we need to talk. I just got back from Baltimore Comic-Con, which was its usual one of the best conventions in the nation. Mark Nathan and his crew are courteous, attentive, and most importantly, terrifically sensitive to the safety concerns of some of the creators and fans who feel threatened by the current climate, alleviating their worries. Mark and his team are knights. Yeah, white knights. Over the past couple of weeks, a disappointingly large number of younger creators have been reaching out to me about harassment from angry fringe fans. Fringe fans. With that in mind, the best and most worthwhile moments of the convention came from walking the floor, talking and listening, helping raise awareness of how bad harassment has become. Awareness both among fans and among my generation of pros. Too many of the latter were still of the, ignore haters, they'll go away school, until I reminded them of the demented, armed fan at Phoenix Comic-Con last May who was arrested just before he could assault a guest of the show. Until I could share with them confidentially some of the most serious rape threats and death threats, the folks I talked to, many of them with big megaphones, some of them store owners, a couple of them well-intentioned YouTube commenters eager to distance themselves from the personal attack ones, are all ready to redouble their support to these younger pros who feel unwelcome or targeted. Regardless of gender or race or background, we work together on some positive actions we can take in the days and weeks to come. That's no silver bullet, but I've been assured it's a step forward. Conversely, and with transparency, let's talk about my misstep. By unartfully making my original post about industry harassment sound as if it all came only from one or two YouTube videos and not also from the repeated misogynist anti-LGBTQ comments made in private as well in public, because private comments are just as harmful as public ones, I got thrown by a brilliant bit of opposition judo. I allowed the conversation to be framed as, quote, comics creators can't take criticism, or, quote, comics creators punch down on innocent fans. I fell into that trap like a total tyro. I don't know what a tyro is. I didn't do us any favors, and anyone who recognizes that can glare at me. I deserve it. So with more clarity, the actual problem, the one that so many younger or career vulnerable creators keep speaking to me about, isn't YouTube videos that complain about a black girl in Iron Man armor, or how Marvel did a story that temporarily turned Captain America into a Nazi. They're not the ones that scream in all caps titles that I'm sick of SJWs destroying comics with my liberal agenda. Fine, you buy the comics. You have a right to an opinion, obviously. Broadcast your thoughts. It's a free country. Have at. Well, thank you. In fact, come at me if you're offended by progressivism. I'm proud to be a progressive writer, and as a freelancer I can speak freely for myself without fear of being censured or accused of representing a specific publisher. The actual problem is that there is a large number of younger creators, professionals, and staffers in this industry, a larger number than you could possibly imagine, who do not have that same privilege. They are being harassed repeatedly, and it's getting worse. As I say, I've been talking with many of them over the past few weeks. These are not histrionic people. These are not overly dramatic people. They are reasonable adults, some of whom cannot speak out because of their employers. And yet they are legitimately frightened by harassers who threaten to come and find them at conventions, at stores, at their homes. One was told she should be burned to death. Another was told that she should be put down like a dog. And those are examples of some of the less hateful attacks. I'm sure they are. I have screen caps of all this material. I'm looking at them right now, and they're being dealt with by authorities. But that's where we're at. This is becoming commonplace. and I have reached the end of my patience. Ooh, we got a badass over here. Not long ago, one of my friends had something terrible happen to them because of all this. At their request, I can't talk about it right now. It's been a bit, but it was vile and the wound is still fresh. You may choose not to believe me, but I have always been truthful and transparent and straightforward with every one of you every moment of every day over the last 35 plus years. And you know that.
If he was really straightforward, he'd give actual examples and screenshots of the worst instead of this is just some of the not so bad ones.
Yeah.
And there's a story I could tell you, but I can't.
Yeah, I would tell you more, but I won't because it's just too vile. It's too X-rated. But trust me, it's bad. I have trusted you with my honesty and my thoughts, and now I need you to trust me when I say that some of these harassers have gone too far. Criticism of the work itself is fine, but no reasonable person would fail to draw the line at direct personal threats and attacks on gender and race and orientation. All of you would hold that line. I know it. I believe in the people who have believed in me. So I'm asking for your help. Not to mob up, not to attack, not to confront. That does no good. These harassers feed on attention, and they need to be starved of attention. They need to be drowned out. I'm asking for your help to change the signal-to-noise ratio. I'm asking for your help on behalf of the people who need us to do two things. Two simple things. 1. Show your support. Share this piece far and wide. Oh my God. Virtue signal for me, please. Comment all day long wherever you can to show those being bullied that we have their backs. And do it tomorrow and the day after and keep doing it. It makes a difference to the people who need us. If you reject bigotry, misogyny, and racism, remind others that comics is an inclusive medium made stronger by the voices it amplifies. You could also buy the fucking comics that are not selling because no one wants to buy your shitty ass books. If you bought them, then you could say you can make a market argument, but you can't because you can't sell any fucking books because nobody wants them. Your sales are in the fucking toilet. Okay, I'm going to keep reading now. 2, please, pro or fan, start championing positivity in comics, not hate. Established pros, myself included, have to really start tamping down the instinct to push back on social media, even when the attacks get brutally personal and vicious. We have to rise above. We have to do our part to change that signal-to-noise ratio. Fans, we know we can count on you to spread a positive message. We are a medium of heroes. And there is nothing heroic about causing someone to suffer or standing by and letting it happen. Champion positivity in comics, not hate. Talk about what you love. Try to look beyond that one title you think we screwed up or that one artist whose work repels you. Think about what's happening to real people. Think about how that same hate could so easily turn on a friend of yours or on you. So basically pretend like there's nobody that's shitty in comics and don't criticize anyone. Fuck off.
Get good, scrub.
Yeah. There are hundreds and hundreds of comics published every month. And if your favorite one hits a rough patch, I'm genuinely sorry. I really am. No, you're not. You don't understand how fucking capitalism works. I'm genuinely sorry. I really am. But you know it'll eventually come around. So take the opportunity to expose yourself to other books, other series you might like. Hell, if nothing else, go read Saga. No one doesn't like Saga. Just tell each other about the wonders you find. I have a feeling that I wouldn't like Saga, just because you fucking recommended it. Maybe you think everything I've said here is overblown, partly because of various investigations in play. I don't have a whole lot to show you at this time. I can't make you believe me. All I can do is once more remind you that I have always been open and honest with you, and I will never lie to you. Harassment to the point where professionals are pulling out of conventions or shying away from anywhere where fans tend to congregate is utterly unacceptable. And frustratingly, there will always be some fans who don't take that concern seriously. We live in a cynical time. No, you live in a cynical time. Empathy is in short supply. But even if you're still skeptical, it doesn't matter. Not if you're a good people. A good people? What? Okay. Consider. Just as no one has the right to tell us what we do or don't have a right to be angry or frustrated about, no one should be able to tell us or tell frightened people that they don't have a right to be afraid. What? You have a right to be afraid. It doesn't mean that it's justified. It just means that you might be a coward. If you're grieving, if you're happy, we can respect your grief or your joy, even if we don't share it, because we have basic human empathy. God. By that same measure, we can never belittle the feelings and fears of others just because we don't share them. At best, that's cold. At worst, it just creates more rage and thus makes everything worse for everyone. I'm surrounded by a lot of good, concerned people as we work on this, most of whom are smarter and more aware than I am. Together, we are going to do what we can to help tamp down the anger and hate that's hurting us all. If this is something that matters to you, you are more than welcome to be part of that conversation. If you just need to speak privately, we will listen. Either way, your voice is valued, and we will hear you. Thank you. Well, there are people talking about like what they want, and their voices are not being valued. Are you listening to them? 40,000 subscribers to Diversity in Comics, several thousand subscribers to Micah Curtis, some thousand subscribers to Aiden Paladin. They have concerns too. So, maybe you should listen to those people. This is probably the longest bumper sticker I've ever seen.